Welcome back, friends. My name is Jake. This is Returning Retro, where we talk about, among many things, primarily intentional tech, vintage tech, and retro tech. So today, I have the privilege to be joined by one of the co-founders of SLEKE. Unfortunately, the other co-founder couldn't make it today because my fault, guys. I had to push this from yesterday to today due to some unforeseen work stuff. So we'll get Brennan on the next time, but Austin was able to join me. We talk about a lot of stuff, so we're just going to jump right into it. This is Austin from SLEKE. I appreciate you taking some
Yeah,
time on a Saturday to chat.
absolutely. We are a bit later than scheduled. We had a bunch of things shift around, and I'm glad we finally were able to make it work. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but we're excited to be here. Thanks for the invite. And this
Yeah.
isn't an interview; it's more of a casual conversation.
Yes. Which I find usually to be more productive types of conversations anyway, as opposed to a
Oh,
formal interview.
absolutely.
But
Sounds
yeah,
good.
Austin. Okay, I've got a bunch of questions, and I've talked to you and Brennan offline, I guess. I mean, texting and stuff, and I think it's been a lot of fun kind of following SLEKE, and to the degree that I have. I haven't been able to follow it for as long as you guys have been around, just because I had never heard of you. But it's been kind of cool to
Hmm.
see some of the shifts that have happened in the Discord, like the updates that you guys do in the Discord, feedback that you get in the Discord. But I would love to just take maybe a few steps back. I would love to know how you and Brennan, know each other, how you came about creating SLEKE, why you chose the approach that you did, namely existing hardware with you guys as software. I just love a little. Maybe we'll call it a history lesson. I'd love
You want a
to
history lesson?
to hear it from you how this whole thing started for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, we we actually became friends at the University of Nevada, Reno. We we went to the same school. We ended up rushing the same fraternity. Became good friends throughout that process, and furthermore, we actually started our first endeavor together, which was making pre-workout for all of our friends.
Oh, nice.
We got all the different individual supplements. Brennan was working at GNC at the time, so he just had a bunch of the individual supplements, and we did a bunch of research and uh, figured out, what are our friends' goals in the gym, and then we would tailor the pre-workout to what they wanted. Well, that's a terrible idea if you decide to do that. There's a reason why FDA exists. Um,
Okay.
but it was just a first fun endeavor of solving our own problems, and this is something that I've always done, in my life, is just solve my own problems. Brennan's the same way, and that was a cool start to doing it together. Um,
And can I ask how long
finished
ago
co
that was,
Yeah,
real quick? Sorry.
I graduated in 18, so I think we met in 2016, 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good amount of time ago. Um, After graduation, I ended up moving to China for 4 years. Well, at the time it was about a year and a half. And Brennan came to went to come visit me with my mom and my sister. He ended up liking it and ended up moving out a couple months later to teach English with me at the same school. Um, COVID happened. We ended up bouncing around to Thailand, to Malaysia. This whole time we're ideating all these different things that we're seeing and wanting to build. We have an idea for a watch. We had an idea for a travel backpack. We had an idea for headphones that stored music on them, so you didn't need to carry a watch or a phone with you.
Ooh,
We've
I
always
like
just
that a
been
lot.
kind of, but yeah, we've always just putting out ideas. Um, and then Sleek started with one conversation that we had in, I think it was 2019, and we're like, we kind of wish we deleted social media off our phones. But with both of us living in China at the time, it's like we couldn't delete Instagram because all of our friends and family knew that's where to reach us. If there was an emergency, reach out to us on Instagram. And I didn't want to not have it on my phone and then miss something super important. So it was just one conversation, went away. We addressed it again a couple years later. I think it was 2022, when we're like, we didn't really see anything that brought all of the functionality of a device, um, without any of the extra distractions. And just a little bit of background, in China they have something that's called WeChat, and it makes living abroad way too easy, especially in a country that's not a native English speaking country. You can buy train tickets, plane tickets, messaging, it's sending money to your friends, it's booking Ubers, it's everything in one app, and it makes life way too easy. And you saw how functional it was. At the same time, you saw how distracting the phone was at the same time, and there wasn't really anything that would separate the two. Um, we ended up sitting there, and this is why we're both still living abroad. I drew out my ideal phone on a note card, and we were just talking about what our ideal phone would be like, and come to stumble upon the r/dumbphone subreddit, and everybody was asking for something that we just drew. They wanted
Ooh.
WhatsApp,
Yep.
they wanted, Spotify, they want Audible, they want mobile payments, they want maps, they need two-factor authentication. They just don't want the distraction portions on the phone, and we drew that. And we're like, well, if nobody else is doing it, why don't we do it? So
I'll
that's
do it
kind of what
myself.
started
Yeah.
Sleek. Yeah. So kind of a fun little history lesson for you. The reason why we went and using refurbished devices rather than creating our own operating system or creating our own phone is the whole minimal/dumb phone issue is it's a software issue. It's not a hardware issue. The hardware
Right.
can help. It can help, give you the functionality you want, yes, but inherently the minimal dumb phone problem is a software issue. And for us, being a small startup that's bootstrapped or we're paying for everything ourselves, is money is you have to be very methodical about how you use your money. And putting money towards hardware development is it can be a black hole. It can be expensive, it's time consuming, and from everyone's comments and all these news articles coming out, laws being changed, the whole this is an issue now. It's not going to be an issue in 5 years. So for us, our mentality is like, how do we get something out as fast as possible, get it in users' hands, get feedback, build upon it, and then kind of let the market take us from there. There's so much good hardware sitting in warehouses. Why don't we utilize it instead of just going up and digging up more resources?
And this
Tech
actually,
companies aren't. Go ahead.
before we move past it, this is something that
Mhm.
I do think is kind of unique in that you guys, at least as far as I know, and maybe this has changed, OdysseyOS is only available for somewhat older generation devices, Pixel devices
Mhm.
specifically. Is
Yep.
that correct? It's not any of the new production stuff. It's going to be I can't even the is it the 7?
Yeah. Right
Okay.
now we're just on the 7. Um,
And you guys did that very
eventually
deliberately, correct? That there's a reason
we
behind
started
why you're
yeah, we started with the 5. And the 5 was just smaller, which is everyone wants in a minimal phone. You don't need a chunker of a device. You want a smaller form factor. Problem is finding good quality older devices is it's getting trickier. The software and security updates aren't getting pushed as much for the 5, and they're about to go out. So for us, it was like we went to the 6. Well, the 6 was way bigger than the 5 was, so that was kind of a no-go. But same thing, it was kind of hard to find good quality 6s, so we ended up moving to the 7. Um, so for us using these refurbished devices, we're still trying to provide good quality devices that we can trust. Is there going to be issues? Yes, there's always issues. There's issues with brand new phones that you paid $1,500 for. Um, but we're finding when you're stripping everything off the device, things like the battery are now lasting, 2 to 3 days on average. Some more, depending on phone use, some, a little bit less, also depending on phone use. So that's one thing we get a lot is like why the refurbished devices, and there's a lot of factors that go into it, and one of them is just why not? It's a quick way into the market, um,
well, and I like as
and
well
people want.
the sustainability
Go ahead.
side of it too. I think you and I, or maybe it was you and I and Brennan had talked about this before, but it's like, in fact, I made a video kind of about this, one of the first ones on my channel, where I had watched Wally for the first time my wife and kids, we all sat down and watched it, and I just
Hmm.
those opening scenes where there's just the discarded tech, the satellites, all the piles of
Hmm.
trash, and so much of it. I just had to think, we're there now. We throw something
Yeah.
away after a year when it is still perfectly functional. And so I appreciate that aspect of what you guys are doing as well. So for what that's worth.
No, we appreciate it. And we didn't realize how big of a factor that was going to be going into this. A lot of people really like it. Some people are like, "Oh, it's just a smartphone." Da 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 da. So for us, we think it's cool because like I was going into, tech companies aren't known for being the most sustainable, and for us, we're doing as many of these little things as we can to kind of reduce our footprint. We're working with a company to make uh, boxes, shipping boxes out of recycled materials, where we use algae ink when we do stamp. So we even
Whoa.
we ask our refurbisher to not seal the envelopes that the bubble mailers that the phones get shipped in, so we don't have to rip them apart. So we can be the ones to seal them and reuse them. So we're trying
Clever.
to
I
do what
like
we
that.
can. Yeah, we're trying to do everything we can. Um, so I think it's good for the environment, and it's really good for the end user as well because they're still getting a good quality product with an operating system that is really benefiting them.
Right. So going a little bit more onto this, or continuing on this theme, someone, maybe they're watching this video, or maybe they've seen, one of you guys' posts or whatnot. They're like, oh, this is
Hmm.
cool. OdysseyOS, Sleek's the phone. What are their options in terms of using the device? Do they
Hmm.
need to purchase it from the website? If they have a Pixel 7, can they purchase a license for the software? How does that all work? What options exist for people?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest one is just buying the phone straight off of our website. If you have a 7, we'd love to be in conversation with you. And if you want to get it, if you want us to put our operating system, we can talk about it. We're trying to be as sustainable as possible, so that's a huge option for us. Eventually, we want to be offered on more devices. Everyone's got some old Android from 10 years ago sitting in a drawer, probably next to the refrigerator. And to be able to eventually reuse that old hardware, that's amazing because it's still good hardware. And for us, when we taking so much stuff off the device, it still runs a bit smoother. You don't need the best battery. You don't need the best GPUs on the phone. When it's a minimal phone, you don't need all of that, and you still get all the benefits. So for us, our end goal is to be able to use whatever Android you have sitting at home. But currently, yes, we're built for sevens. Um, Off of our website, the easiest way, or feel free to reach out if you have one sitting at home, and we will be happy to work with you on it.
So, two questions, I guess, and we can talk about them together or maybe separate. Is there a reason you chose the full operating system approach as opposed to just an app? So, like a
Hmm.
WeChat, maybe an American version of WeChat. I can already assume a couple of things, but just to ask you plainly, why did you choose the full operating system version as opposed to maybe some kind of a launcher app combo that restricts things?
We did that because it takes the human out of the control. Uh, yeah, it takes the human out of the control. As soon as you give somebody the option, they're not going to do it. There's a reason why we go after the thing with the least barrier to entry, is because it's easy. And we like to find the easiest path. And when we talk about something like screen time management, put in your passcode to extend 5 more minutes. Well, what happens? You put in that passcode and you still have full access. It's not enough restriction. I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday, and I turned to um, a girl who was working the desk, and she's still in at UNR working or is going to school. And I'm like, how many times or have you ever deleted an app off on your phone? She's like, absolutely. I'm like, do you have that phone back, or do you have that app back on your phone? She said, yes.
Yep.
That's the exact the problem with an app or a launcher. You don't have that type of control as you can with a full operating system. You really need to try and get as down into the nitty-gritty as possible. Trying to, and this is why we're called Odysseus or OdysseyOS, is you make the user and tie their hands where they don't even have the option of that negative behavior, whatever it may be.
Gotcha. So that actually
Make
brings
make
up
us
an
the make us the bad guys. That's
that yeah,
okay.
there you go. Yep, yep. It's like, hey guys, out of my hands.
Mhm.
This is up to them. I can't use XYZ app because I can't. I literally can't. Which I think
Exactly.
is an approach. Now, one thing, Austin, that I've noticed as I've started my own, I call it the adventure, the returning retro adventure, is things have shifted around a lot in the way I expected them to go versus the way they actually have gone. So I started with the goal being I'm going to go full basic phone, not even dumb phone, basic phone. My goal is to
Mhm.
get to calls and texts only. Well, as you can imagine, starting a YouTube channel and a Reddit page, that's a bit of a problem in terms of
Mhm.
all of the different aspects that are involved there. However, I also don't want to be using devices in a way that I have historically because of all the distractions and stuff that comes. So I've started to notice that there's like this broad spectrum of options emerging. You've got companies like SLEKE, where you've got super smart hardware with I hate using dumb, but this is what people say. So like using dumb software where the limitations
Yeah.
are baked into the side. You've got the other side of it where you've got hardware limitations and no software limitations. I'm thinking minimal phone. You know, you've got a very
Mhm.
underpowered processor, you've got an e-paper display, you've got a QWERTY, so all of that. But then it's just running open full Android, so the limitations. And then you've got companies where it's like something in the middle where they're bringing their own hardware, they're bringing their own software as kind of a middle approach. I think
Mhm.
it is really good to see this myriad of options hitting the market because not only are no two people alike, but people's own approach to it can change with time. As I've been working through things on my own, I have found just by working at it, I am able to use a phone. So, for example, I've been using like my Clixel, quote unquote, where I've got my
Your
Pixel 9
Clixel,
with
I
the
like
Clicks
that.
keyboard, which I can't take credit for that. The guys at Clicks, I think, coined that term. Very successfully in that I'm not getting my screen time is way down compared to if I would have tried to do this even 6 months ago as a result of my progress. So I
Mhm.
think that it's really cool to see all of these different options because where Odyssey OS, which I am just chomping at the bit to get to try out for myself, might be great for some people. For others, it might be too restrictive. For some, it might not be restrictive enough, and this is something that I think is really
Absolutely.
cool about this. What again? Until the standard term comes out, I just call this entire space intentional technology. It's where you're being
Yeah,
more
I
deliberate
love it.
about what you're using, because there's all these terms and it just but I call it intentional tech. Digital minimalism is a more narrow branch maybe of this
Mhm.
intentional tech space more broadly. So I guess this is more of a thank you guys for giving us more options. um,
Yeah, and I think that's what's amazing about this space. Our goal is all the same. Every single one of these companies in this
yes, yep.
space, their goal is the same thing. And if for somebody a light phone is the best practical solution, I'm going to refer them to light phone.
Mm-hmm.
If they're, if minimal phone is the best possible solution for somebody, I'm going to refer them to minimal phone. I'm not telling people that we are the end all be all because we're not. Everyone, like you said, everyone has different goals in mind. Everyone has a little bit more options or things that they can actually feasibly do. Um, and we just want to help make that possible. We want to support, Joe Schmo who still works 9 to 5. He needs email. He needs two-factor authentication. He needs his kid's baby monitor app, you know, but he doesn't
Mm.
feel supported because the only thing out there is like it's either not enough technology or it's a band-aid. It doesn't do anything. And I think for us, we wanted to be a practical solution because this whole digital minimalism, dumb phone minimalism, respecting your time, this whole space, it shouldn't be a luxury. This should be available
Yep.
for everybody. And we want to get to a point, and our whole reason of why we want to get to software only is because we want to make this available for people. You know, it's kind of like how the cheapest option for food was fast food. It's not the healthiest,
Hmm.
but it's the cheapest. So what do people kind of gear towards that? And I think that digital minimalism and respecting people's time should not be one of those things.
Hmm.
I should feel supported in whatever my goals are with wherever I stand, and I think we want to make that possible.
And I think that is huge. What you're talking, I heard, I was actually having a conversation with someone about this yesterday, and the term that he used, I had never heard it phrased this way before, but I thought it was really interesting. The right to be offline shouldn't be
Yeah.
a luxury. It should be something that everybody is able to enjoy. And this is something, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. You know, I have kids. I have young kids, and we're not quite to the point yet where some of the social pressure around apps, phones, social media is there yet. But I know that
Mhm.
it's going to come, and I just think that that is such a terrible reality that many parents, but not just parents, adults face as well, where in a lot
Mhm.
of ways you really can't be offline if you want to function well in society. I'm not saying that it's impossible that you can, but when you've got a kid that every single one of their friend group has this app or that app, and you, I guess in this case me, knowing the dangers of those things, don't let
Mhm.
them have it. That's tough. Or if you're in,
Yep.
you've got these work expectations where all of your colleagues or whatever have what fill Slack, Teams, Outlook, whatever, all the time in during work hours or out of work hours, and so maybe they have an advantage. I don't know. This is something that I think is very, very an important factor here that sometimes doesn't get talked about enough. This the right to be offline, or the even the ability to function well in society without being
Yeah.
forced to use these apps or these things that are out there.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that we've become a society where being available 24/7 is the norm. If whether you're off hours, on hours, or in between, you should be expected to reply within a certain amount of time, and I think that's so unhealthy. You need some time to disconnect, you need some time for yourself. And if you just look at the history, going back to like the history of like luxury items or what success looked, technology used to be that. Oh, I have the brand new phone, I have the brand new PlayStation or Xbox, I have the ability to buy this technology. Well, guess what now the new luxury is? The luxury is that I can go into a cabin and stay there for a week and not have to use any technology. That's the new norm, and that should tell you kind of where the direction and where the shift is and where that luxury now lies. Is it's in peace and quiet and the ability to disconnect. And for so many people, they don't have that ability to disconnect. And it's patronizing, I think, that the only way we kind of treat people who want to get away from distraction is no technology. It's really hard. It's like shoving somebody in a casino and expecting them not to gamble. Like, what's going to happen is they're going to gamble and they're going to feel that pressure. And like you said, the social pressure is so high to be available that it's unfortunate that it does influence our choices. So I I wish that there were more, like, I wish it was practical to use a light phone all the time or a flip phone all the time. I would That would totally work for me. I really like what the guys are doing at Light, and the Light Phone 2 and Light Phone 3 are both amazing products. And, if it was practical for me, I would do it. I probably will still try it at some point. Um, but I think for whatever stage people are in, it's nice that there's an option out there for them. Kind of going back to
Yes.
what you were saying earlier. It's nice that people can feel supported and no matter what stage they are. And I think that's so important in this niche of technology of intentional tech. It's like, do I feel supported no matter what my goals are?
Right.
And for us, it's interesting to hear all the feedback from the people using our phone, whether they're switching from another minimal or dumb phone, whether they're switching from a smartphone, whether they're switching from no phone. We've had all of those. And they all like the same things, but the reasons why are so vastly different.
Oh,
And it kind of,
interesting.
yeah, it gives you a little bit of perspective of, oh, maybe they didn't feel supported here, or they do feel like this is too much. So being able to benefit and hear people's perspective is it's really one exciting for us to hear like we are truly helping people. I mean, I'm getting emails of 8 paragraphs on why this is changing their life. And for us,
That
like
is
that's
cool.
so rewarding.
Yep.
Um, so I think everybody in this space does deserve that same feeling, and it's happening. I've heard it. And that's what gets me truly excited is that people feel supported at the end of the day.
Well, and you bring up a really good point there as well, in that as you were just describing that this idea of being supported wherever you are on your own individual journey, or even to take that to more of a macro level. I mean, we didn't. It kind of feels that way if you look at all of history, but we didn't get from 2007 technology and the everyday use and the everyday expectations to
Hmm.
2025 overnight.
No.
There's 2 decades of incremental. Now this is expected. Now this is available. Now this is expected. Now this is available.
Hmm.
So I think it's probably going to need some incremental steps to go back, or I guess to go forward, but maybe in a better way. And again, going back to what I had said before, having the options out there not only gives people that are wanting to do this a chance at it, but it also it's like this idea, and I don't know if I've shared this with you guys before, but this whole concept of a rising tide lifts all the boats. I think
Hmm.
that all of the companies, the content creators, and even just the end users in this space working together is going to make for some of this incremental progress to again, not to necessarily turn back the clock, even though the name of my channel is literally Returning Retro, but to incrementally shift things into a more intentional, or I would even just say healthy way of
Hmm.
using technology. So yeah, I guess more of just a thought there.
No, yeah, and I think technology is inherently a tool. That's why
Yes.
it's made. And technology has gotten so far away from that original definition of it being a tool that we're trying to do everything we can to reel it back to that because it
Mm,
should benefit you to live your life. It shouldn't live your life for you, nor should it take away from your life. It should help you live your life to the best of your ability. And we were just at CES, what was it? January,
hmm.
whatever it was. We were at
Yeah, I
CES this
think
last year,
January.
and I think it was January. And all a lot of the technology coming out is trying to mimic the human interaction. Whether it's AI, whether it's
Yep.
robots, whether it's whatever. It's trying to mimic the human interaction. And that's because we feel lonely. Well, we only feel lonely because the use of technology
Yes.
is putting
Yes,
us in this
Austin.
bubble, and social media is everything. There's a reason why it's not, I heard this the other day. I think it was in a podcast. There's a reason why, or it might have been Brennan actually. There's a reason why social networks aren't called a social network anymore. It's social media because it's all media.
Yep.
I went through and I was looking through posts, or my girlfriend posted a post on Instagram, for example, and I didn't even see her post. It was all sponsored ads, like,
Yep.
and like, one, I don't even go on this, and two, I'm not even seeing my own girlfriend's post. Like, there's something wrong when this is inherently what it was made for, is to be a social network. When it was a social network, it was great, but we've gone so far beyond
Well,
that
and
it's no
this
longer
happened to me
social.
this morning, Austin. It's so funny you bring up that example, because that exact thing. So I ended up winning a little bit of prize money at a company sponsored event recently,
Congratulations.
and so I was like, okay, I think it would be a good idea to maybe get a little bit nicer of a camera, since I am
Hmm.
doing this YouTube thing. And so I was like, in the spirit of like I like to do things, I always try to go secondhand first. So the classifieds, Craigslist, we have a local one here that's a different thing, but Facebook Marketplace. So I started with Facebook, and I kid you not, I clicked the link, I'm going to go to Marketplace, and immediately my attention is drawn to the feed. And I
Yeah.
found
Oh yeah.
myself inadvertently scrolling a mix of like posts and ads and posts and ads. And it completely derailed my entire train of thought. And it took me a couple
Hmm.
minutes before I was like, "Oh my gosh, this isn't what I'm like. I'm looking for a camera here, you know." And they do this, and this is what I think is a little bit sinister. And I'm not even this isn't a conspiracy. Like, there's public data out there that shows this. The companies do this on purpose.
Oh yeah.
They've turned it into social media as opposed to social networking websites. They've done it deliberately. They're
Hmm.
doing it for a purpose, and one that I think, you know, the free market fan in me is like, hey, this is the company. You can talk with your dollars, you know, friends. The problem is when it's a free service, they don't realize. Anyway, this is a little bit of a, but yes, this is something that I think more people need to be aware of.
When when you don't pay for the product, you yourself are the product.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many examples of this. Another one is like on my girlfriend's phone, same thing. It's pinging her because another one of her friends has liked another one of her friends' posts. And it's like, I don't
Yes.
need to know that. It's just trying to get you back on the device. Why? Because where your attention is where the money's going to be.
Yep.
And for I mean, for all these bigger companies, their whole goal is to keep you on the device as long as possible. And for us, we're the exact opposite. How do we get somebody off device as fast as
Mm-hmm.
possible? And just bragging, a lot of our alpha and beta users, their screen time went from on average 4.5 hours a day to down to 38 minutes. And that's because
Yes.
we truly support our end users in trying to usher them off device. We are so serious about what we include, we won't even include e-readers because if our whole goal is to get you into the real world, that
Mm-hmm.
goes against our antithesis. And for us, we're doing everything we can to support our end user, with whatever they need. Because real life is out here, it's not here.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been kind of forced to think the opposite. And, you know, even now, what do we do? If we go watch fireworks, we're all recording it. No one's gonna watch your fireworks video. Like, I'm
Yep.
sorry. I mean, maybe you'll watch it again, but there's so many good quality fireworks videos you can watch online. Just enjoy it.
Yep.
Why are you gonna go watch somebody riding a roller coaster on your phone? Why don't you go do it yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many. Yeah, I don't know. There's I can go on and on about this, and it gets me excited to see people feel supported in what they want
Yes.
and what their goals are. People are tired of feeling trapped. And when you talk to people who have bought 5 or 6 devices over the course of a year, not feeling supported, it really does. It pulls on those heartstrings because you realize that you're actually creating real impact and you're changing somebody's life. Why a refurbished device? Doesn't matter. What matters is the end user is supported and they feel like they're getting benefit.
That's a good point.
So my thoughts.
Well, let's shift gears. Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. So I have two other questions, and I mean we
Mhm.
can go honestly as long as you want, Austin. But I also want to be respectful of your Saturday morning. Why the name Sleek, and why is it spelled SLEKE? Where does this all come
Yeah,
from?
good question. We were originally named Simple,
Simple. Okay.
and one of our advisors, we were talking with her, and she was telling us like, I don't hear simple when I think of your company. You guys are curated, you're optimized. She's like, when I think simple, I think of cleaning products or going green. And you guys are optimized. You're curated for the end user. That's the whole goal is to curate the experience, to create a phone that is completely optimized. It's beyond what a smartphone is. And she's like, that's sleek. And we're like, whoa. We were all freaking out and we were super excited. And then it was like the spelling, and we had the hamburger little funky logo thing um, as the S in simple originally, and we wanted to carry that over, so we're trying to do some experiments, and we just had a whiteboard, and we wrote out Sleek probably 100 times. Putting the logo in different places, spelling it differently. Do we go all caps? Do we go all lowercase? Do we do one capital, the rest lower? Like we were doing everything, and finally we found it with the hamburger in the middle of the word, and that's how we got the logo inside of it. And we felt it different just because one, brand identity, and two, it's just different. We're a tech company, we need to have some fun somewhere.
There you go.
And it was just kind of fun. It was cheeky. And I think for us, we wanted to be different. And one of our other advisors, he's like, yeah, you'll win every argument with it's sleek. He's like, it cost, you know, what does it do? Oh, it's not just light, it's sleek. It's not just a dumb phone, it's sleek. It's not just whatever, it's sleek. It's like it just wins all the arguments. So he was juiced about it. It took us honestly a little bit while to get used to it. We
Okay.
weren't completely sold, but then after talking to our a couple different advisors, they definitely convinced us. And it's sticking and it's fun. The spelling is a bit funky, and I get it. People get frustrated when it's spelled wrong. And yes, let me clarify for everybody out there: we spell it SLEKE, all caps with a period at the end. Um,
Ah, the period. Okay, I
so
had seen
the
that in the
period is the
branding, but I
period is
wasn't sure if
important.
that.
Yes,
Okay, I will make sure when doing
that is.
the captions and stuff. Now, I had gotten the well, and some of it gets by me because yeah, the auto captions or whatever, it just spells it
Yeah,
the,
no
you know.
worries, no worries. It's funny because like we see it spelled whatever way, and it really doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, it is SLEKE, all caps, um, with a period. So sleek it is.
Cool. Well, the other question that I had just mentioned that I'm really curious because you guys have been in this space for considerably longer than I have, but even
Mhm.
in the 4-ish months that I've been putting out content on the Returning Retro YouTube and Reddit pages, I've seen some very encouraging shifts where there's more options becoming available, more people are hearing about it. I would love to. Two things, and in any order you want. The first is your reaction or your thoughts to how almost universally the big voices in like tech content creation kind of just rag on the dumb phone stuff, the digital minimalism stuff, this intentional tech
Mhm.
space as a whole. I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. But then also, maybe a side question to that is, where do you see this all going? Do you see intentional tech, deliberate tech, maybe even all the way narrowly down into digital minimalism becoming somewhat mainstream, or do you see it being almost like parallel cultures? You've got the all in on tech, the all in on AI, the all in on, you know what, when this company offers me the ability to live in the oasis, if you've ever seen or read Ready Player One, and people just sit there
Mhm.
all day and they live there. They take that, and so there's that side of the culture, and then there's the anyway. I'd love your thoughts on how kind of these mainstream content creators, influencers are, and maybe this is just my own sample size of one seeing it that way, but there's only
Mhm.
been a couple that I have seen be like, hey, there's something to this. All the rest of them are like, this is never going to take off. This is super blah blah blah. I'd love your response to that, but then also where you think this is all going.
Yeah. So starting off with your first question, I think it is different to understand. And one, I think we're so used to wanting the newest gadget, the best gadget, the fastest gadget, that wanting and intentionally switching to something that maybe has less or is a bit different is it's very it's opposite because for us we're trying to place our value in the best phone, the best car.
Mm.
That's where the value is. And it's like not necessarily that's where some people value, and that's where society as a whole has pushed the value is the best processor, the best camera, best battery life. Like what can we do to optimize technology? And for
Supercomputer in
some
your pocket.
people in a supercomputer in your pocket. And my favorite thing is like, oh, we have more power now than they did on the original spaceship project, or when they had it at NASA to release the first spaceship. Like, well, I don't see anybody releasing spaceships from their using their phone. So, like, it's it's such a luxury item, and it's a norm that we want the best product out there. To have a group of people who are like, I am intentionally not going after that. Maybe it's threatening. Maybe it's just a different way of
Oh,
thinking that is
interesting.
um, it's completely opposite to what we've been made to believe. We've been made to believe that we have to replace our phone every year. We've been made to believe that you do need the newest technology to survive. And I think it's just so different than it's such a mental shift where you're placing value somewhere else that it might be threatening to some people. Some people they just might not understand. Some people it's not their goals. There's so many different reasons why it's different,
That's
right?
another good point.
And,
They have different
and
priorities.
exactly. And an example of this is if you ask some, older adults, we'll say 45 to 50, not older adults, but older adults, you know, do you need something? It's like I don't. They will always say like I don't really have a problem with social media. I can delete an app on my phone and I'm not going to be downloading it back again. Well, that's not true for the younger generation. They will delete something and it will be back on their. I do that. I delete something on my phone and it comes back. When I was still using my iPhone, I had that problem all the time. So some people just can't wrap their head around looking at things from a different perspective. For a kid who's grown up with a phone in their hand, they don't have that same control as somebody as even millennials do. So one is just it's not knowing or looking at things through different eyes. It could be different end goals, it's different value of success, it's a different view of technology. There's so many reasons why there's a little bit of a disconnect there. And granted, our end goal, and this is kind of getting to our next question, as SLEKE, we want to make a phone where it's a minimalist or dumb phone for the minimalist. It's privacy and security
Ah,
for those who
hmm
value that. It's technology that gets the people who are technology driven excited. We're able to capture all these different things. And I was having a conversation with one of the people using our phone, and he said, I wouldn't really recommend this to my friend yet because they all left technology for what it is. So imagine creating a minimal or dumb phone that still gets those people excited.
mm,
Is because you're utilizing technology to its best ability, but it's supporting you as an end user.
hmm
So that's our end goal as Sleek is and I see where the shift is going is having more options for people who want to be with intentional tech or with calm tech or with their mobile space. Like there's so many different things, and I think you're going to more houses now, and I have friends where they don't even have TVs in the living room. It's like we're moving away, we're shifting away from these different realms of what is normal, and people I feel like are trying to explore their own little niche and choosing their own experience with technology. And I think as we move on, I hope that there's more options out there that give people to explore and really curate their own experience how they want it.
So that brings up the question, my friend. Where is this all going? Where do you see I again just using my own terminology, the intentional tech space, which would include digital minimalism, which would include
Hmm.
I've heard it called finite tech, I've heard it called calm tech, I've heard it called
Hmm.
a couple of others that are slipping my. So let's just lump all of that together for the sake of this
Yeah.
question. Where do you see all of this going? Where do you see this in 10 years as opposed to I'm sure that you and I would probably both agree that in 10 years everything mainstream will be driven by AI. Everything will be automated. The people will be out. I mean, it's very much going towards that Wall-E type. The
Yeah.
machines are doing the living. The humans are not. Again, just for that. So where do you see this intentional tech space going from here? Is it always going to be this tiny little corner of the internet, quote unquote, or do you see
Hmm.
people waking up, seeing the harms, and actually, hey, I need to be more deliberate about this, and sort of joining the cause, so to speak?
My hope is that people will come and actually, let me rephrase this. I just hope that people can live their life how they want to. If they want to live their life on screens, by all means, that's totally okay. Like there's some people who they get connection from there. There's some people who are the opposite. They want to be outdoors, they want to be surfing, they want to be climbing, they want to be mountain biking, they want to be crocheting, they want to be doing stuff with their hands. I hope they can be supported too. I hope wherever people find their power, their energy, whatever you want to call it, whatever gets them excited, I hope they feel supported in a way that they can go do that. And with technology, yes, there's going to be more AI integration. That's a given, and I think same thing with, cell phones. Writing letters has gone down. Has it completely disappeared? No, it's still there. Sure, not as many people do it, but it is still an option. So I think everything will still be an option as we move towards more AI integration. And I think having people be able to kind of go back to what I said earlier is having people be able to shape their experience how they want it. And my hope is, and how I kind of see it, is things are going to start being more, you're going to have the ability to curate stuff some more. Um, with the more integration of AI, it's going to make things more accessible for some people, but it's also going to bring more people in and maybe where they're going to get addicted in different ways. I do think, like, especially working with some of the influencers, one of our influencers has vision problems, and she can now feel supported by the use of AI. And I think it also opens up a whole bunch of benefit in ways that, people might not have been able to experience stuff for a long time. So I think there is a lot of benefit of where the technology is going and having the best technology. But I also think that being in a realm where people can still feel supported and going into real life and walking on the beach or, just going to explore, they should feel supported too. And I hope that technology allows them the space to be able to live life however they want it. Whenever I was talking about this the other day, and on my deathbed, I don't think the last thing I'm gonna say is I wish I spent more time on my phone.
Yep.
And for me, I think the way that technology is going, that's not going to be the case, but I think people are going to really realize and kind of put things in perspective on, oh man, maybe I did spend too much time on my phone or spend too much time watching TV. But at the same time, if you get value from that, do it. Our whole goal of, like, do cool stuff is, I can't tell you what's cool. You can't tell me what's cool. We
Sure.
have our own perspectives. And I think technology is going to be the same way. It's like, I can't tell you what experience to have. You can't tell me what type of experience to have. As long as we both get benefit and feel okay with what we're doing, it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Right. And I think that's cool. And that's good, a good context to know, as far as maybe you guys' goals are to provide those options for people, not necessarily to try and, I don't know, having grown up on a cattle ranch, not necessarily trying to herd society any one way or another, but rather to
Absolutely
to
not.
to provide the options. Maybe devil's advocate argument on that is, I do worry that, to the example of like people that like to spend time on the beach to go and spend, I do worry, what about people that, unlike me, have never spent time on the beach, and so they
Hmm.
they don't know what they're missing because they're living on their phone. This is something that does kind of concern me a little bit, is when they don't know what all is out there because they would have never put themselves in a circumstance to even be aware
Hmm.
of it. This is something, again, just I get more of just my own crazy ramblings, but that's something that does concern me a little bit. But again, going back to your point, I feel like so long as that there are those of us out here, I think the letter writing example is spot on, because
Hmm.
that does still exist, and it's albeit now very niche. It used to be the norm, but now it's very, very niche. But it's also like, you're able to write letters. You have more resources for writing letters now than at any time in history, and so there's that
Hmm.
side of it as well. So
Yeah,
I think that's really cool.
I think. Oh, go ahead. I
No,
I
that
think
was
that Okay, cool. It's it's one of those things that's, like I said, yeah, somebody's always going to be watching the beach on their phone, but for some people, that's their only option. And I think that's what the amazing thing is about technology, is it does allow that perspective to happen. But at the same time, there is a point where, if you're choosing to watch your phone rather than going to experience the real thing, well, I can't sit here and be the bad guy the whole time and tell you, like, look, put down your phone, go out there and experience it yourself. I think it's just an internal realization. It's like, oh, I can go do this. I can stay up late and go look at the stars. I don't need to just look at pictures of it. And it has to be some sort of internal motivation to want to do that. And Yeah, I mean, it's tough, especially when you have phones designed to keep your attention. You're definitely
Exactly.
fighting
Yep.
that.
Yep.
You are fighting that. And it does take, whether a loved one, a friend, a family member, somebody to be like, look, put the phone down. Let's go and do this in real life. Or let's go play a board game. Or let's go have conversation. Let's do more stuff that's out in the open.
Right. Well, and you
You
make a
know,
good point there. Something. Sorry to interrupt, but the thought
no,
of,
you're
I
fine.
was reading a book. It's been a while ago, but there was such an interesting. I don't remember even what it was. Anyway, it put forth this idea that when a person is compelled to act, the word they used is virtuously.
Hmm.
That person is not necessarily acting with virtue. They are acting because they're being compelled to or forced to. I mean, they use it, compelled.
Mm,
And so to like this, something you just said reminded me of this is it's when you go to the beach because of curiosity, desire of your own, like from within, as opposed to
mhm,
from being compelled from the outside, being convinced, being pressured, being whatever. It's a much more lasting and meaningful experience than,
mhm.
I don't know if this is making any sense. Like when you do something
Yeah, yeah,
because it
definitely.
comes from you, it's going to be more impactful than when you're doing it for outside reasons. Again, going back to that example, it's like compelled virtue is not virtue at all. It's you are acting either out of fear or because you have no choice.
You could be in Disneyland and your kid could be crying. It's be the greatest place on earth, and your kid's crying because maybe they don't want to actually be there. Like it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you force somebody to be in a situation, they're not going to fully get to enjoy it or fully respect it. You have to try. You can nudge them to feel that way, but it's only on your self discovery and wanting to experience that yourself that you can truly see the benefits.
Right. And therein lies, I mean, even with this thing that I just said, I can devil advocate myself. It's like, oh, but Jake, if you don't ever, if you don't give them that nudge, how are they ever going to
Yeah.
get out of there? So there's definitely a very fine line to sort of walk there.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Like kids gotta you gotta pick their like kids are the good example. You gotta pick their curiosity. And once they're curious, they're gonna go and they're gonna want to learn stuff. And I think giving a kids in an environment where they feel supported and an avenue to express themselves and experiment. I think that's why I like things like science classes and after school
Mm.
programs where they have the ability to go and just have fun, break stuff. Be told to go break something or go get dirty or whatever. Like that's where you can get that experience, and you really got to piece that curiosity. And I think this is even a bigger issue is we have been taught for so long that boredom is bad
Oh my goodness.
and that
Yep.
we need to fill this time. And what does that do? Well, it kills curiosity. It kills the desire to go and try something new or let our mind wander. Like I remember going and playing all these random games as a kid because we were like, oh, we're bored. Oh, let's go, I don't know, pretend that we're soccer stars kicking rocks. Like that's all gone now
Hmm.
because of the way that technology is and the power that it's literally everywhere. And it's unfortunate we're getting to a place, and I think that boredom is the impetus for curiosity, and I think that's something
Yes.
that needs to be brought back and break the stigma that boredom is bad because it's not.
Hmm. I actually watched a really good video, and I shoot, I cannot remember the gal's name. I posted it out. I shared it on YouTube, and I posted it on the Returning Retro Reddit page because it's this boredom is such a fuel for creativity. And
Mhm,
I would add, I like the word that you used, curiosity, but also another one, discovery. So many of
mhm.
these things, creativity, curiosity, and discovery, have come about because of someone being bored. And yet
Yeah,
here we are,
absolutely.
where we are programmed to think, no, it always has to be filled. My attention has to be filled on stuff that is being provided for me, as opposed to being bored and creating. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think that's our whole goal with Sleek. we're not telling people that social media is bad. We're not telling people that all this is bad. We just want people to be able to do so with intention. You know,
Mhm.
if you're bored, do that with intention and go be curious and discover stuff. If you want, like, I've traveled to some amazing places because of social media.
Mhm.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely benefits. And I think for us, we're just trying to teach us, like, look, whatever you want to do it with intention.
Mhm.
And I think with us, we're able to provide that solution to people. It's like, intentionally go on your computer to go look at Instagram. Intentionally go on your computer to look at YouTube. You know, Nothing's bad with those things. You can learn so much. You can get a full education on YouTube and beyond. Like
Mhm.
there's so technology we allows us to have this type of conversation now. And
Right.
I
Yeah.
think there's
Yep.
so many benefits. Like technology is not bad. It's just the intentional use behind it, which can get you not into trouble, but can get you way off the path. And I think that's what we want to really teach and show at Sleek is that I mean is that thing is that exact ideology.
Yeah, and I think to sort of interesting that we've landed here, it kind of brings it back whole full circle to one of your very first thoughts in this conversation is using it as a tool for living as opposed to
Exactly.
just using it as your life. Well, cool. Well,
100%.
let's Austin. I really appreciate you taking the time, especially on a Saturday morning. I'd love to get you and Brennan back on together, just so that we could have the whole team, so to speak.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
but yeah, anything, parting thoughts for the viewers, listeners, and readers of Returning Retro. Where can people? I mean, obviously, you guys have a website. What's the best way to connect with
Mhm.
you guys?
Yeah, our website is sleek.io, SLEKE.io. Feel free to reach out at any time with questions, comments, concerns, ideas. We take this all into consideration. We are very much a user-led company, and we're working with all the people using our phone and want to hear feedback from everyone who's not, and in between, because that's how we grow as a company. So shoot me an email at austin@sleek.io. Um, there's going to be a phones free event in San Francisco on the 25th. I don't know when this is going to be released. I'm going to be there. Come if you're in the Bay Area, come hang out. It's going to be a fun experience. No affiliation. I'm just excited for it because I'm
Mhm.
excited to meet some like-minded people. Yeah, we are just excited to keep growing and seeing, all the cool people we can meet. I mean, this is a great example. And imagine this all happened because of our fake hardware video that we did for April Fools.
That's true.
just just having fun. So yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Austin. Yep,
Of
folks.
course.
I'll
Thank
have links
you.
to everything here in the description. But yeah, we'll talk with the sleek guys again soon.